Good day, and welcome to the Independent Women's Forum. More economic growth, not raising the minimum wage, is the real key to raising wages and more opportunity press call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Executive Director Sabrina Schaefer. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sabrina Schaefer. I'm the Executive Director of the Independent Women's Forum. IWF is a nonpartisan 501c3 research and educational institution dedicated to expanding the conservative coalition, both by increasing the number of women who understand and value the benefits of limited government, personal liberty, and free markets, and by countering those who seek to expand government in the name of protecting women. Progressives are promoting raising the minimum wage as a common-sense way to alleviate poverty and help women on the brink. And while hiking the minimum wage may sound compassionate, there are serious unintended consequences associated with artificially raising wages, and it's not fair to hurt the very people who need assistance most. We all want to solve the real problem of people, especially women, living in poverty. But the biggest reason people live in poverty is not because they're forced into low-paying jobs. It's instead because they don't have consistent paid employment. Let's consider the facts. Minimum wage laws make it illegal for employers to offer someone a job for less hourly pay than the government's mandated minimum. That means that lower skilled and less experienced workers will simply find fewer job opportunities as they are priced out of the employment market. Too often we forget that the minimum wage jobs tend to be entry-level jobs, which means that their value is more than just the take-home pay they provide. They're critical skill-building opportunities and allow workers, especially young workers, to gain valuable work experience that will help them start a career and ultimately earn more. In fact, most minimum wage workers receive pay raises within 1 year. What we know is that low-wage jobs are not the real source of poverty. Looking at data from the U.S. Census Bureau over more than 20 years, researchers have found that among workers who are 16 and older living in poverty, only 9% had full-time work year-round, and 67% had no work at all. Similarly, in 2012, 74% of households with children living under the poverty line had no full-time worker in that household. It's a myth that minimum wage earners are all living in poverty. In fact, less than a quarter of minimum wage earners live in households below the poverty line. That's because more than half are between the ages of 16 and 24, and most are also enrolled in school. Minimum wage earners under the age of 25 are typically not the family's sole breadwinner. Instead, they often live in middle-class families which don't rely on their earnings to make ends meet. One would expect young people to earn less while they gain needed skills and experience. Progressives advocating for the higher minimum wage argue that this will especially be a win for women, since women make up about two-thirds of minimum wage workers. Yet this statistic just reinforces that women are that much more vulnerable to the potential job losses caused by this new regulation. Women account for nearly two-thirds of part-time workers, and part-time workers are more likely to earn the minimum wage. As the wage increases, many of these part-time workers may find their jobs are eliminated altogether. And that's definitely bad news for women, especially moms, who sought out part-time work to balance family responsibilities. Mothers are also concerned about job opportunities for their children. And right now, the unemployment rate for African American young adults 16 to 19 years of age is 36%, twice what it is for white teenagers. These women know that first jobs are critical skill-building experiences and are the first step to building a resume for the future. We all want to do what is fair for hardworking Americans, especially in this difficult economic time. But the best way to help those struggling in today's economy is not to raise the minimum wage by a couple of dollars. The real and most fair solution is to focus on creating a growing economy with plentiful job opportunities. This will help unemployed people get paying jobs, boost the prospects of those currently working for low wages, and increase individual workers' bargaining power. Ultimately, the minimum wage is an inefficient way to try to reduce poverty. Far better for Washington to focus on targeted assistance programs for those who are truly in need. A higher minimum wage, which will only further distort the labor market and make job opportunities more scarce, will ultimately prevent workers from beginning their climb up the economic ladder. Thank you again for joining the Independent Women's Forum this morning to hear our concerns about the Minimum Wage Fairness Act federally mandate higher minimum wage. As a reminder, all of this information and more analysis will be available after this call on the IWF homepage, www.iwf.org. We will now open the call for any questions.
Thank you. If you would like to ask a question, please signal by pressing star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you are using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. A voice prompt on the phone line will indicate when your line is open. Please state your name before posing your question. Again, that is star 1 to ask a question. We'll pause for just a moment to allow everyone an opportunity to signal for questions. Once again, that is star 1 to ask a question. At this time, we have no questions.
All right. Well, if you have additional questions afterwards, please contact IWF Communications Director, Victoria Coley, at victoria@iwf.org. Thank you.
That concludes today's conference call. We thank you for your participation.